If you've ever stood in the storage aisle and wondered which container was finally going to bring your house into order, you are not alone. In today's video, I'm going to share with you the 3 containers that I swear by to bring order to my house. And these containers are not just pretty, though they are that. Over the years, they have brought my house into a calm, clutter-free, cohesive look time and time again through different houses and different seasons of my life. And stick around to the end because I do have 2 other organizers that I also swear by. I'm Emily from Chasing Simple, and let's simplify your home beautifully. So I think it's fairly easy to have a beautiful home when the cabinet doors and the closet doors are closed. It's when they open that it's a little bit more challenging. And so I use a lot of these containers behind closed doors. For me, I really love a good aesthetic space. I like to see beauty when I open a cabinet door. And so that's kind of important to me. So I like a pretty curated look. And so probably one of my favorite and most flexible organizing containers that I use is the water hyacinth baskets. And primarily I have purchased these from the Container Store, though you can search that on Amazon and there's lots of options there too. And I have a few things that are just that same type of basket, but aren't from the Container Store. And these have worked really well for me over the years. I find them to be really flexible. I like that they come in several different sizes, so I can use them in a cabinet, for example, to kind of corral items and maximize space. I can use them in a deeper configuration for like a linen closet or a pantry to maximize the depth that I have to work with. And I really do find that a basket like maximizes storage. I heard recently that like we're not doing baskets anymore. That's no longer popular. And I don't know how you take that out of society. I mean, like we've been doing that since agrarian times. Okay, so I'm here for the baskets. I think they're great. One of the things I really like is that if I have something in a cabinet that like there's lots of pieces too. So I use mine for storing like seasonal dishware. So my Christmas china, or I have a set of pink depression glass that I keep in these baskets. And I would never be able to fit this much contents on just a square foot of, or like a cubic foot, I guess, of space on a shelf. But I can with these baskets because I can stack a bunch of plates, I can lay the glasses on top of them. And then, you know, it's not like I can reach those high shelves except for with a ladder. And so I'll get out my step stool and I can just pull the whole basket down instead of like individually taking item by item down. And then it kind of makes my cabinet look cleaner because I don't have like a stack of Christmas china and a stack of pink dishware and all of the components to that alongside it. So that really cleans up the look, which I really value. I also like them because I do think that they hide things. So like I use them in my linen closet, and I have a bunch of just cleaning supplies that are not decanted. They're just in normal bottles. And I don't want to look at all that. That would look kind of cluttered to me, but since they're kind of tucked behind the basket, I can see just enough of them to be able to retrieve what I need to get, but I don't have to look at that and feel like it clutters up my space. I do the same thing with like food packaging. I also really like that they're flexible. Right now I use a lot of them in my pantry for food storage, and I can fit like big categories. Like I have one for all the items I'll be using for dinner that week, or I have another for like baking items that are overflow. I have one for just spices that are overflow, that sort of thing. And that works really nicely to be able to use them for food storage currently. But I also really like that I've been able to use them in a super flexible way in the past. And so in my old house, I had very few cabinets. I think I had like 6 cabinets in my old house. And so I didn't have nearly as much storage in my actual kitchen. And so I kept all of my small appliances in these baskets. And I had a good sized pantry. My pantry was probably about the same size as the one I have now. And so I was able to put the food processor and all of the components that go along with it, and the Instant Pot and all of the accessories that go along with it in individual baskets, and just pull the whole basket out when I was ready to use it. And that made it super handy. You could even do that and be keeping small appliances in a less convenient place than a pantry, like down in a basement or something like that. And I think that would work really nicely, and it makes it quite convenient. And I also use these in my entry closet. I use them for like hats and gloves and that kind of thing. So it just really corrals lots of little things together so that I'm not constantly searching through tiny items or, waiting for the avalanche when I open up a closet. An item I really like are the iDesign acrylic bins, and I use these inside of drawers to organize within the drawers. And I kind of fell in love with this look at my old house. I wanted to kind of outfit the drawers so that each item sort of had a parking space within the drawers. And I generally like that. Now there's some things that I kind of corral together, like cooking utensils, I kind of put all together, serving utensils, I stick all of those together. So it's not like every single item has its own bin, but definitely like items are kind of placed together. And what this allowed me to do was really maximize storage in a drawer. In my old kitchen, I really only had like one big drawer. And so I needed to fit like all cooking prep utensils and all of that in one spot. And these worked really well. But then when we moved, I was able to take all of those and re-outfit them into the various drawers in this kitchen. And I didn't even have to buy any others because it's just so flexible, depending on the size of the drawers. I have totally different sized cabinets now than I did there. And honestly, the drawers are much smaller, but I was able to fit them easily into the other drawers. And so I like that they're available in a lot of different sizes. So they fit things that are like long, they fit things that are more like short and squat, they fit things that are like wide and deep. And so I just really like that they have a lot of variety in the sizing, and I find them to be super cleanable. So they're great for like if something is wet, it's no problem. I can unload my dishwasher wet right onto them, and I don't worry about their longevity, or if something were to spill or I got crumbs or something in it, I could easily wipe it out. So I really like that. But definitely don't run them through the dishwasher. Don't ask me how I know. It's an expensive dishwasher run, let's just say that. Another storage container that I really like are Target's Y-weave baskets. Again, these come in lots of different sizes, and I really like them for like more utility areas. So I use these under my kitchen sink. I have like a kitchen laundry bin for just any laundry that accumulates on our main level because our laundry room is upstairs. So for the most part, that's like kitchen linens, towels, and wet dish rags and that kind of thing. And then occasionally some preschooler clothing. And so if things are wet, like a dish rag is wet or something, I can easily throw it in there because it's a plastic basket. So it's no big deal for it to be there. And then that actually protects the bottom of my cabinet as well. And I also use them for other things that are even more wet than that, like bath toy storage and under sinks and that kind of thing. I like to keep medications in them just because if I have like cough medicine spill or something, I don't want that on one of my water hyacinth baskets because then that basket is ruined forever. So I really like them for more utilitarian areas. I also like them for areas that maybe I don't anticipate having that need forever. So I have a lot of like kid activity kind of stuff like Play-Doh and paint and all of that sort of thing right now, but I'm not always gonna have that. And so when I'm doing a space that I just feel like, well, this is kind of temporary, like we're not always gonna use this, then I feel better about spending kind of a smaller amount of money on organizing containers. And again, they're still flexible. I can use them in other areas, and I already have done that with the Y-weave baskets, but I feel a little less guilt about investing in them because they're not nearly as expensive. And so as seasons change and time changes, it's no big deal for me to just kind of pass those along or utilize them in a different area when the need for that organization container goes away. Along with that, they are stackable. Now they're not stackable like within a cabinet once you have contents in them, but they do stack together when they're not in use. And I keep a shelf in my basement that just has storage containers I'm not currently using, but that I might use at another time. And I've really liked that because organization changes all of the time. As your life changes, you need to adjust things, and that's normal. That doesn't mean you failed or that your system that you set up isn't perfect. Your life is changing, so you're gonna need to change your system. And so I really like that I can easily store those, whereas like the water hyacinth baskets, those are fairly bulky, they take up more space and they cannot be stacked together. And so the Y-weave baskets are great for areas where I'm just gonna have kind of ever-changing contents in. And then two bonus items I would share with you are Target also makes a wonderful product that is like a upright storage rack. And in the past, when I've had experience with these, they're super flimsy. They're made out of like wire and they knock over if you take the items out of them. And I'm not here for that. Like I have put those in place so that I don't have to get down on my hands and knees to get things out of cabinets, you know? And so I love these. They're super sturdy and they stay nice and upright. I use them for like vertical storage of muffin tins and sheet trays and cutting boards and that kind of thing. Just really eliminates stacking and therefore maximizes storage. And I just always feel like if it can be super easy to put it away, I'm very likely to put it away. If I have to like unstack until I get to the larger items, I am not going to put things away. And my experience has been that you tend to use the larger cutting board. You're not using the tiny cutting board all the time. And so you really like would be unstacking all the time. It just doesn't make any sense. And so I love the idea of eliminating any kind of stacked products in my house. I use that also for serveware in my pantry. My top shelf has like serving trays and charcuterie boards and attractive cutting boards, that kind of thing. And then it also has chargers, which are like decorative, I'll call them a plate, but you don't eat off of them, that you put other plates on top of. And I like to use those for entertaining. And so I can fit like a whole set of chargers in each one of the sections, which just really maximizes my storage and again eliminates stacking, which keeps those chargers looking nicer for longer and then also eliminates the like fatigue of putting things away. The other thing that I really like are the little Lazy Susans, and I get those from Target as well. They have them in, I think, 2 different sizes, and they're made by Bright Room, and I really like the small ones. I think they're maybe like about 10 inches in diameter because they fit in an upper cabinet, which is most often where I find that I need a Lazy Susan. Generally speaking, I'm a fan of using things that are like square or rectangular because most of the places that you're outfitting, like a closet or a cabinet, are that shape. So it doesn't make sense to put something circular in something that's that shape most of the time because you're wasting space, right? But sometimes, especially on items that are high reach, like where you're constantly getting into that cabinet and grabbing those items, then it's really nice to have a Lazy Susan because you can corral all of the individual items together, but then easily access them. So like I have a supplement routine where I can take the whole Lazy Susan down, I can do my whole supplement mix, and then I can put them back in, or I could just spin my Lazy Susan and kind of pull individual items off of it. I think they'd be great for a medicine cabinet. I think they'd be great for like medications and that sort of thing as well. I actually think they'd also be good for like cosmetics and hair care. And I mean, I could see using a Lazy Susan in a lot of different places, but I just use them in 2 areas. I use them in that supplement area and then also under my sink. I have kind of an area where I keep scrub brushes that I don't use real often, like for pet bowls or for like a bottle brush. And then I have the things that I use to put into my diffuser. And then I have my countertop spray. And so it's just nice, like instead of those things just being kind of tossed into the cabinet, for them to all be very accessible, and I can just spin that whenever I need to get the various items that are on it, and it makes it very convenient. Well, I hope this has been helpful and that it's given you some ideas of ways that you can create flexible storage in your own home. And I hope that you will take a minute to like this video, and I hope you'll stick around too for more content like this.